Hello, and welcome to the Tavern Chat Podcast. I am your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor of Tenkar's Tavern blog, Discord server, media group, Facebook group, Twittering, and Instagram. So, on the side of Flying Buffalo, FBI, I love the fact that they break their initials down to be FBI, Flying Buffalo Incorporated. They updated their PDFs with a small bit of a disclaimer. Now, I mentioned this earlier, and a couple of maybe a week and a half ago, and it was one of the most listened to episodes of the recent episodes. And I mentioned that they had changed a spell name without indicating it, and this is in the reprints. And I did I think the spell name in question was a little offensive? Most certainly. Do I have a problem with them changing it? No, but as Jason will explain, I'm going to step away for Jason right now, they changed it, they edited a note that they did so. I think they did a home run, so let's step away for Jason.
Hey Eric, Jason here. Flying Buffalo has done the right thing, and I just want to let you know and let everybody know that they've gone back in their PDFs and they put a little disclaimer in the front on the dedication page, like the second, third page. It says, "The spell Obey Me was originally called Yes, Master. I have changed it not to rewrite history, but to avoid giving offense in the future. I, Ken St. Andre, sincerely apologize for any offense my thoughtless wordplay may have caused. My intent in 1975 was to amuse, not to offend or degrade anybody. 8/1/2020. I think that's awesome. I think it's the right way to go. If you're going to change something, I got no problem with changing that because it's pretty offensive. But if you're going to change it, tell people you changed it. I think Flying Buffalo is a class act. They've done the right thing, and I want to make sure everybody knows that. Thank you, Eric. I really appreciate all the hard work you do.
Jason, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. That's the way it should be handled. And you know what? I wish I could take credit for the following. I guess it's not purely a quote, but I read this on Facebook. I think it was earlier today. And there's a huge difference between virtue signaling and being virtuous. Okay? Virtue signaling is when you take actions because you want people to look at you and see how great you are. Ooh, Mr. Carter, look at me. Well, no, Flying Buffalo didn't do that. Flying Buffalo came out and basically, this is Steve Crompton and Ken St. Andre, and said, hey, we screwed up. We're going to fix it as best we can, and we're going to show you what we did. So you know that we fixed it, but you know why we fixed it. Now, I don't want to call this schadenfreude, but there are a number of companies, we've talked about Paizo, we've talked about Wizards of the Coast, who have certainly signaled their virtue while being accused of being virtueless or less than virtuous or something like that. So now the latest victim or the latest to be accused is Onyx Path. Onyx Path, publisher of Vampire and other World of Darkness products, is now facing accusations of racism, blacklisting, and retaliation from one of their freelancers, one Khaldun Khalil, Khelil, freelance game designer. Apparently, he claims that, and this is, I'm getting this from N-World, I don't think that Emerald has a confusing story. I just think the story is confusing as all fucking hell. Basically, he was bitching about Matt McElroy. I don't think that he meant Matt McElroy, because later on, they revealed it was actually Matt McFarland. Now, Matt McFarland, you might remember, has faced accusations of grooming and sexually assaulting an underage girl. Oh. So, we like to believe that this industry of ours is free of the dramas that inhabit real life. It isn't. But what I find, I don't know, more perturbing than the actual, I was going to say indiscretions, but indiscretions is certainly too weak a term. The improper, the disgusting, the racist activities and stuff that Wizards of the Coast has been accused of, and Onyx Path. I find that shit to be more offensive because Paizo, Wizards of the Coast, even Onyx Path, like to signal their virtue. But the worst offenders seem to be the ones that do the Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter. Oh, Mr. Carter, look at me, Mr. Carter. Look how great. Enough kissing our asses to show us how virtuous you are.
Relax, Arnold.
Right. When the reality...
Relax,
when the reality is, they don't have virtue. Okay? They are not virtuous. All right? Yes. Flying Buffalo. Did they fuck up back in the 70s? Most assuredly. Okay? Ken St. Andre was choosing spell definitions that were whimsical and silly. All right? And did he screw the pooch on this one? Yes. And is he throwing himself on the sword at this point? Yes. But they aren't claiming to be perfect, right? They aren't claiming to be without sin. And let's remember, what does the Bible say? Let he who's without sin throw the first stone. Usually the first stone is thrown by individuals or companies that are basically, you would say, biblically full of sin. And I just find that so hypocritical. All right? I know myself to be far from perfect. I would even go as far to say I can be a fuck-up at some times, and some points. And there have been times where, and I'll never claim this is an easy thing to do, I've had to fall on the sword. Publicly, on the blog, apologize. I made a horrible rape joke years ago, which wasn't good. And people took offense to it. Actual rape victims took offense to it. God bless them. And here I was, cracking a joke about an offensive product, the Tournament of Rapists. I don't know if you remember that pile of shit. And,
I had no idea.
yeah, Rachel. Yeah, you weren't as wired in back then, young lady. And, I fell on that sword. Hey, I made a joke using I can't even say it now, right? The C word. About somebody wanting to trademark the word. I still think it's a funny joke. I still will say I never should have said it. It's one of those jokes that should have stayed in your fucking head. Alright? Or maybe just told to my wife. Because she likes to drop that word a lot. And she's allowed to, because she's American Irish and, you know, she channels the Irish. I don't have that Irish privilege to say that word. Don't look at me like that.
I guess I'm the privileged one.
Yes, you're the privileged one. Yes, you can say it. I can't. But, you know what? Not for nothing. But, this shit's gonna eat our own. And when I say eat our own, it's gonna eat the industry. Okay? Because we're expecting perfection from people, from companies, often years in the past. The whole thing with Wizards of the Coast, with their huge disclaimer about products from the 70s, possibly being biased and racist and misogynist. You know, we are judging the past and with modern eyesight. And it was a different world. It was a different world. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying it. People like H.P. Lovecraft weren't shitty people. Okay, but again, here's another situation where I look at people who signal their virtue as they take your money. God. Evil Hat with their we're gonna make a game based on H.P. Lovecraft's mythos, basically Call of Cthulhu but using a Fate engine, but we are going to disavow H.P. Lovecraft himself, although we're basing it on his public domain works. But H.P. Lovecraft was a vile piece of shit, and we disavow him, but we're going to use him to make profit off of.
Didn't you need a vile piece of shit to come up with half the stuff that he came up with?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. You're probably going to be a little ill in the head.
It's documented.
Yes.
He had psychiatric illness and addictions and all kinds of stuff.
You see what happens when you get a social worker involved in this shit? They know stuff. Oy. Folks, when you start expecting perfection from, not only your heroes, but people that you've looked up to in the industry or anywhere, when you expect perfection, I can guarantee you they're going to fall far short. Guaranteed. But I'm not a medical professional. So, we're in the midst of a pandemic, at least as I am recording this. Take actions to protect yourself, your loved ones, your family, your friends, your community. If you have any question as to what that might entail, seek a medical professional for advice. And, as always, be safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice. Don't design a game using public domain IP that you were going to disavow while still taking the money from your fans. And, new Bill and Ted movie coming, I think, to Amazon? End of August. Oh my fucking God. I'm not sure whether to be excited or to cry. I'm feeling old. Alright, folks. Laters.